Hey everybody, it's Liz. It's been a while. Yeah, I haven't really known what to say lately. There's just so much going on. And I'm sorry if this video is more wiggly and the sound isn't as good. I don't have any of the stuff that I normally use to do it, and I'm just gonna roll with it. So here we are rolling. So I just had to share a story, okay? So as you know, or you maybe have heard, there's a pandemic going on, and school has been really challenging. And my boys started back, my oldest started back as a first grader, and we've been doing the virtual learning. And then my youngest isn't in a school program right now, and so he's just like free ranging the house as a newly 4-year-old. He's just like, I don't know what he's doing because I've been so focused on the older one to get the school stuff done. And it's just been nuts. It's been totally nuts, right? And for me personally, it's been super crazy because a lot of my anxiety and school stress and things all started, in kindergarten and first grade. And so I feel like I'm having like exposure therapy when it comes to honestly, even just these like topics that he's learning and how to read and all these things that when I was that age, it was like the first time that I really realized that I learned differently and that just 100% didn't seem like it was okay. And there also just wasn't as much information about how ADHD and dyslexia and learning disabilities present in girls. And so it just went under the radar. And, and I'm finally getting less angry about that and more just like, you do what you can and they didn't know, and it's okay. And unfortunately I've just stored a ton of that crap and stress in my body, and it's caused other ripple effects, right? And it's not anyone's fault, it's just facts. And so here I am, right? I'm like trying to help my son do all these things and be in first grade and then also just like, God, attention span wise and ADHD stuff, like just remembering what the instructions are and like keeping up with when we have to be online, when we don't have to be online, like the scheduling and logistics, and then trying to figure out what to do with, the other kid. And then, it's been challenging, right? And then, of course, like the first week, of course, it's been just like lots of logistics of how to get connected and technology and blah, 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 blah. And so it has not been exciting for him at all. And he literally, less than 45 minutes into the very first day of it, he just looks at me and he goes, "I'm out of here." And I was like, "You're out of here?" And he's like, "I'm out of here." Like, and it was just so hilarious. And I was like, "Oh shit. Like, you can't be out of here, buddy." Like and so, yeah. So that first week of like the actual full on virtual schedule, it was just super, super challenging. We go into the Friday of that week. Now I'm even blocking out. No, it was the second week of it. Okay, so we had one first week that was like it was like pretty rough. The second week was actually much rougher because it was like more of the full schedule. Cut to, I fall back into old pattern of when stress gets to a certain level, I throw my back out. It's just how that goes. This old pattern that I'm learning how to break, but haven't broken it yet. And so, cut to Friday morning of last week. I am literally on the floor, can't get off the floor very easily, trying to like maintain some sort of stretching out my back, which is kind of false hope, but I'm on the floor. Oldest one is, begrudgingly doing the videos. Younger one is just like melting down because he wants a snack. Older one starts melting down because he doesn't want to do it anymore. I just can't do anything for anybody, right? I'm like literally on the floor and like tremendous pain. And I've been texting a friend whose son was having a rough morning too. He's in the same class. And I just had to say it out loud. And I just wrote to her saying, "This is a nightmare," frowny face emoji. And then I said, "This is a nightmare," frowny face emoji. I just had to say that out loud. And so then I sent the message, I move on, I get off the floor, I get the snack, I get the other one back on the computer, whatever. And then I come back to my phone a little bit later and I look and there's a direct message just from the teacher saying, "What's wrong?" And I was like, oh my God, oh no. And then the reality that of what just happened just hit me. And I was like, not only did I text the teacher, I texted the group text that she'd been using to send the schedule out every day, you guys. I texted, "This is a nightmare," frowny face emoji, just had to say that out loud to the entire class that my son is in. I did that. I totally did that. And so then it just starts. And like one person writes back to the group text, which you're like not supposed to do because we all learned that in like 2001 when we got our first cell phones. Like you don't respond to the group fucking text. And so someone just writes, I'm so sorry. And then I get another message from like an acquaintance friend who's like son's in the class. And she just is like a solidarity, like, hey, I hear you. And she's like, I like a woman who speaks the truth. And I was like, no, I didn't want to speak the truth to everybody. I just wanted to say it to this other person. And then my other friend who I was like actually meaning to text was just like, oh my God. And so then I just freaked out. And I was like writing the teacher and just being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't want that to be disrespectful. Like she is a phenomenal teacher. She's doing unbelievably great. Like I love her. She's amazing. She is amazing. And so then I was just like, oh God. And I'm like writing to her and like apologizing. And then I'm fighting the like impulsive urge, like really strongly to like one more time write to the group, just being like, hey, sorry about that. I think she's doing great. I support public education. Like, but then I didn't do that, even though it was like very hard not to. I'm sorry, my motion light is going on and off because my husband's walking back and forth. Awesome. So I was just like, oh my God. And like, it all worked out. The teacher and I already, thank God, had a really good rapport. And so she's like, all capitals multiple times, being like, it is totally fine. Like, she is like unbelievably amazing. Everyone had a good laugh. I'm sure, everyone was feeling the same exact way because it truly was a nightmare in that moment. And like, it all worked out. But I was like, still on the floor, right? Like, I still can't move my back. And I'm like, hey, this back is never going to get better because I am like failing, like, oh my God. And so if virtual learning is feeling tricky, or the whole world, because it's all like the way it is right now, is feeling like a lot, just remember, it could be worse. You could have texted your son's classroom, this is a nightmare, and not realized it. So that's it. This video is like totally crazy. I feel like this video is like totally 2020. There's like shadows and spotlights and like weird sound, and 2020 people, we're just embracing it. Yeah. And then also my son had been like so negative about it, for 2 solid weeks. And I've been really like, should I do something else? And I don't know. And yesterday we were eating lunch, and yesterday morning I realized that like, I was like, this just sucks. Honestly, for me, like, this is my worst nightmare. Like, the logistics of it, the keeping track of everything, like, all the stuff. It's just, like, me as a person, me as, like, 5-year-old Liz, me as 42-year-old Liz, is just, like, freaking out in the mornings because I feel, like, bored and sad and just, like, disorganized and just, like, crap. Like, I've just not been feeling good. And so, I'm like, yeah, I think we need a new plan. Like, I don't know, just, like, full-on brainstorming a new plan. And then at lunch, sweet little buddy just looks at me and just goes, I love school. And I couldn't help any other response than, really? And I was like, do you mean, and I tried to like get my face back in order, but like, you've met me, at least this way, and like my face doesn't go back in order. And I was just like, do you mean school this year or last year? Just asking, like, just, okay. Like, trying to be easy breezy, which is, like, such bullshit. Like, no easy breeziness was happening. And he's just like, no, this year. Yeah. And he's like, and I was like, what do you like about it? Like, what are you liking about it? And he's like, then he, like, totally picked up on my weirdness and, like, clammed up and was, like, trying to clam up. And I was like, no, but, like, just give me one thing that you like about school this year. Like, I'm really, really curious. And he's like, I like Seesaw, which is like the app they're using to give online assignments. And he's like, I like Seesaw, except when it's really boring. And I'm like, fair enough. I mean, if that's his critique of school, like, I like it except when it's really boring, I will take it, right? And I just realized, like, I need to keep in check of, like, yes, it might be really hard for me, but then also not putting all my anxiety around all this and my, like, past stuff and past blah, 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 like, just trying not to put it on him and, like, seeing where he actually is at and asking the question, and, yeah, I think now that we're in this rhythm, we're, like, a solid 3 we're in our third week. And rhythm's coming, more content's happening. He's actually learning stuff. I think he's like getting into the groove of it. I mean, things are totally settling down, and like he's loving it. He's getting into it. And so I'm just gonna try to keep my 5-year-old freak out brain in check, as well as my texting brain in check. So I'm not gonna text the class anymore, hopefully, and we'll go from there. So solidarity to everybody. Love you dearly, and we're gonna get through this, and our kids are totally gonna be fine, and we hopefully we'll have some really good stories, and ideally they won't burn too many bridges along the way. All right, love you. Let me know how you're doing. I really am curious. All right, thanks. Bye.